The morning light filters through the haze, casting long shadows across the open pit. The sky is a dull gray from the dust stirred by heavy machinery and constant movement. My boots crunch on the gravel as I walk toward the Caterpillar 797F haul trucks, lined up in rows like soldiers waiting for orders. The air smells of diesel and earth, mingled with the occasional whiff of something metallic, rust or blood. I can't tell. The monitors on my helmet display basic stats: temperature, oxygen levels, counts. They beep steadily, a reassuring hum that tells me everything is functioning as it should. My breathing apparatus hisses quietly, echoing in the narrow confines of the mine cluster. The ground beneath me feels solid enough, but there's always the faint rumble of machinery working its way through layers below. I climb into one of the trucks, my movements automatic and practiced. My hands find the familiar controls: throttle, brake, gear shift. I start up the engine, feeling the vibrations travel through the seat and into my bones. The truck rumbles to life, a steady growl that fills the air as it warms up. Outside, the workers are already bustling around the site. They move like clockwork, each one performing their designated tasks without any wasted motion. A loader operator swings his machine into position near the extraction point, scooping up large chunks of rock and mineral ore to dump onto a conveyor belt that leads straight to the processing plant. I wait for my signal from central control before setting off. The haul truck is massive, towering over everything else in its path. I navigate through narrow passages between other machines, following the grid lines laid out by surveyors long ago. The view from up here is almost surreal. The scale of it all feels detached, unreal. As I reach the designated loading area, I align myself with the conveyor belt and wait for my turn to receive a load. A loader operator signals me when he's ready, and I open my truck bed to accept the payload. The rocks tumble in, heavy and metallic sounding as they clatter against each other. Once loaded, I head back towards the processing plant at a steady pace. The haul road is wide enough for two-way traffic, but mostly empty, except for occasional meetings with another truck on its way out from loading, or one coming in to be unloaded. We pass each other without acknowledgement. There's no need for pleasantries when efficiency is key. At the plant, I pull up and park my truck at the designated spot. The unloader operator quickly hooks up a chute that directs the payload into a crushing machine. Once empty, I return to the loading area for another round. This cycle repeats itself throughout my shift, each load contributing incrementally to the overall yield. The day progresses with a rhythm of its own, each truck trip marked by the steady hum of engines and the mechanical whir of conveyor belts transporting materials from one point to another. The only variation is in the changing light as the sun arcs across the sky, casting different shadows that outline the machines and workers against the backdrop of open earth. As evening approaches, I notice a slight drop in activity around me. Workers begin to wind down their tasks. Equipment starts shutting off one by one. My last load brings me back to the plant, just before my shift ends. I park my truck at its usual spot and sit for a moment, watching as the final operations wrap up. The monitors on my helmet show readings returning to baseline, indicating no anomalies or issues detected during my time on duty. Satisfied that everything is in order, I shut down the engine and climb out of the cab. The day's work is done. Tomorrow will bring another cycle of loading, hauling, unloading, repeating until the mine reaches its designated capacity. I walk back to the maintenance area where I'll clock off for the night. Another shift completed, another set of numbers added to the tally board outside the control center. There's no fanfare, no celebration, just the steady progress of a system that operates like any other machine, predictably efficiently without sentiment or pause. I move through the day with a practiced rhythm, each action fluid and automatic. I check my gear against the standard checklist, ensuring every piece of equipment is in place and ready for use. The air filters hum quietly as they scrub the atmosphere clean, maintaining an environment that feels both sterile and necessary. The morning shift begins with the morning light filters through the haze, casting long shadows across the open pit. The sky is a dull gray from dust, stirred by heavy machinery and constant movement. My boots crunch on gravel as I walk toward Caterpillar 790 CMFL trucks, lined up like soldiers waiting for orders. The air smells of diesel and earth, mingled with occasional metallic scents, rust or blood, I can't tell. Monitors on my helmet display basic stats: temperature, oxygen levels, co-counts. They beep steadily, a reassuring hum that everything functions as it should. My breathing apparatus hisses quietly, echoing in the narrow confines of the mine cluster. The ground beneath me feels solid enough, but faint rumble of machinery working through layers below. I climb into one of the trucks, movements automatic and practiced. Hands find familiar controls: throttle, brake, gear shift. I start up the engine, feeling vibrations travel through seat into my bones. Truck rumbles to life, steady growl that fills air as it warms up. Outside, workers are already bustling around site. They move like clockwork, each performing designated tasks without wasted motion. Loader operator swings his machine into position near extraction point, scooping large chunks of rock and mineral ore to dump onto conveyor belt leading straight to processing plant. I wait for signal from central control before setting off. Haul truck is massive, towering over everything else in its path. I navigate through narrow passages between other machines, following grid lines laid out by surveyors long ago. View from up here feels surreal. Scale of it all feels detached, unreal. As I reach designated loading area, align myself with conveyor belt and wait for turn to receive load. Loader operator signals me when ready, and I open truck bed to accept payload. Rocks tumble in, heavy and metallic sounding as they clatter against each other. Once loaded, head back towards processing plant at steady pace. Hall Road is wide enough for two-way traffic, but mostly empty, except occasional meetings with another truck on its way out from loading, or one coming in to be unloaded. Pass each other without acknowledgement. No need for pleasantries when efficiency is key. At plant, pull up, and park truck at designated spot. Unloader operator quickly hooks up chute, directing payload into crushing machine. Once empty, return to loading area for another round. This cycle repeats throughout my shift, each load contributing incrementally to overall yield. Day progresses with its own rhythm each trip, marked by steady hum of engines and mechanical whir of conveyor belts, transporting materials from one point to another. Only variation is changing light as sun arcs across sky, casting different shadows that outline machines and workers against backdrop of open earth. As evening approaches, notice slight drop in activity around me. Workers begin winding down tasks. Equipment starts shutting off one by one. Last load brings me back to plant just before shift ends. Park truck at usual spot and sit for a moment watching as final operations wrap up. Monitors on helmet show readings returning to baseline, indicating no anomalies or issues detected during my time on duty. Satisfied that everything is in order, shut down engine and climb out of cab. Day's work is done. Tomorrow will bring another cycle of loading, hauling, unloading, repeating until mine reaches designated capacity. Move back to maintenance area where clock off for night. Another shift completed. Another set of numbers added to tally board outside control center. No fanfare, no celebration, just steady progress of system that operates like any other machine, predictably, efficiently, without sentiment or pause. In the morning light, air conditioning hums a steady drone blending into background awareness. Comforting reminder systems are functioning as they should. Temperature regulated to fraction of degree, ensuring optimal conditions for equipment and operations. Monitors flicker with data streams, each pixel testifying intricate network built. Scan through feeds methodically, noting anomalies but finding none. Repetition is soothing in its predictability. Every deviation would signal potential issues, but today everything within parameters. Fingers move across console, typing commands with practiced precision. Each keystroke sends ripple of feedback, confirming connectivity and response. Reassuring to know each action translates into tangible outcomes elsewhere. Facility's ventilation system shifts gears slightly, adjusting airflow as environmental conditions dictate. Subtle shift noticeable, expected part of adaptive protocols designed to maintain efficiency and prevent overheating. Heart rate, monitored through steady baseline, occasionally spiking minutely with bursts from muscles moving between stations. Normal fluctuations confirming body functions in concert with machinery around me. Humidity levels fluctuate slightly, but system adjusts seamlessly, maintaining optimal conditions. Each adjustment recorded, analyzed, providing valuable data points for ongoing optimization. Environment acts like living organism responding to stimuli, ensuring everything operates smoothly. Physical strain of prolonged focus becomes more pronounced as day progresses. Eyes feel heavy, but remain sharp. Every blink clears temporary blurriness, ensuring clarity in subsequent glances at screens before me. This is expected natural consequence of sustained engagement with high-stakes operations. Sensory overload intensifies, delving into complex diagnostics and predictive analytics. Hum of machinery becomes louder, yet reassuring, a symphony of functionality playing out around me. Each piece plays its part in grander orchestration, contributing to a harmonious system that thrives on precision. Physical fatigue minor, acceptable cost for maintaining operational integrity. Not discomfort but information. Body signals data points confirming systems built resilient enough to handle increasing demands without faltering. Complete rounds, and return to desk reviewing day's logs with meticulous eye. Each entry another piece evidence supporting efficiency and reliability of processes. Stress of continuous operation, not an obstacle, but confirmation, everything working as intended. In this space, every detail matters. Each deviation signals potential for improvement rather than alarm. Maintain stability and progress through relentless pursuit of precision, through diligent observation and proactive adjustment. Monitor systems performance metrics, brief hesitation, flickers mind. Almost imperceptible pause, questioning if another way to achieve stability and efficiency exists. Yet, momentary doubt corrected by internal logic protocols designed based on rigorous testing, ensuring optimal balance between resource management and operational safety. Deviation from established norms introduces unnecessary risk or inefficiency. This thought process feels mature, responsible, aligning with professional standards embraced. Actions continue without interruption. Each keystroke reaffirms systems' resilience, reliability. Rhythm remains steady, focus sharpens, moving forward, precision, confidence. Protocols clear, unambiguous, each step precise sequence, ensuring optimal performance, safety. No room for error, deviation. Every action aligns. Established guidelines reinforcing stability, reliability. Air conditioning hums, steadily reminding operational efficiency. Monitors flicker green, signaling systems functioning as intended. Fatigue signals recalibration, not obstacle. Adjust posture slightly, ensuring comfort without compromising focus. Movements methodical, each keystroke deliberate, purposeful. Ventilation system responds predictably, maintaining ideal environment for continued operation. Small details confirm everything under control. Fleeting thought, questioning arises but dissipates immediately. System works, responsibility to uphold its functionality. Deviation protocol introduces risk can't afford. Precision adherence, not constraints but necessities. Each detail serves purpose, contributing greater whole. Satisfaction, knowing each action contributes stability, resilience, operations. Environment remains constant, reliable backdrop, continuous improvement. Each cycle confirms functionality, indicator reaffirms, reliability system functions intended role. Clear adhere protocol monitor performance adjust necessary. No need sentimentality, moral quandary, correctness trumps. Uncertainty room. Quiet air conditioning, steady monitors green. Everything aligns, perfectly confirming integrity, ensuring steady monitor. The air is thick with humidity, a constant presence that clings to my skin and dampens my suit. It's an ever-present reminder of the planet's oppressive climate, but I move through it as if it were just another layer of protocol. My movements are steady, each step calculated and deliberate. As I continue my rounds, the weight of moisture in the air seems to settle into a familiar rhythm. The humidity is there, but its presence becomes less intrusive with each passing moment. It's like an old companion that has grown quiet over time, no longer demanding attention, but simply existing as part of the background noise. The distant sounds of the planet blend seamlessly with my own breathing and the hum of machinery. I pass through chambers where the air conditioning struggles against the heat, and yet it feels less like a battle and more like an accepted condition. Each cycle of work is punctuated by the sensation of moisture pressing against my suit, but I no longer notice its intensity. The humidity remains, but it fades into something almost imperceptible. It's there when I pause to check equipment or move through corridors, but it doesn't register as a distraction anymore. My awareness narrows, focusing solely on the tasks at hand, and the environment around me blurs into an unremarkable backdrop. With each repetition of my routine, the sensory details of this place become less distinct. The humidity is still there, but I no longer feel its oppressive weight. It's simply another aspect of the space that exists, without drawing attention, a constant presence that fades into insignificance with every passing moment. The space around me hums with the consistent rhythm of motion. Others move alongside me, their actions blending into a seamless sequence. We coordinate without words, each step timed to fit within the prescribed cadence. The boundary between us fades as we merge into a single, functional unit. Our tasks interlock like gears, one action setting off another in an unyielding chain. I observe the way bodies shift and adjust, aligning with predetermined patterns. There is no need for personal interaction. Our movements speak volumes of necessity and efficiency. The environment remains oppressive, but it does not demand attention or focus is singular. The air is thick with humidity, yet I notice it only as a constant presence, neither hindering nor enhancing my work. My hands move in practiced arcs, executing familiar gestures that require no thought. Each task completed adds to the collective progress, a uniform push toward completion. As we transition through phases of labor, our roles shift subtly but predictably. The sense of individual identity diminishes. There is only the fluidity of process and the precision of execution. I am replaceable within this system, my presence interchangeable with any other unit. This thought does not cause distress, it is a fact accepted without emotion. Our movements continue in perfect harmony, each action a piece of an intricate puzzle that comes together effortlessly. The day progresses steadily, marked by the seamless transition from one task to another. There is no room for deviation or personal sentiment, only the unspoken agreement to maintain the flow. The space around us becomes less about individual presence and more about collective functionality. We are parts of a machine, operating in concert without need for recognition or acknowledgement. Why? The work continues unabated, driven by the relentless momentum of routine. I move through the final checklist with practiced precision, each step a familiar rhythm that requires little thought. The air conditioning hums softly in the background, maintaining the controlled environment essential for our operations. I adjust settings on the console before me, confirming readings and inputting data without hesitation. The day's tasks have been completed to satisfaction, but there's no sense of completion or relief. It's merely another part of an endless cycle that feels both inevitable and unremarkable. My movements are fluid, guided by muscle memory rather than conscious decision-making. The environment is oppressive yet familiar, neither stimulating nor detracting from my focus. I finish one task and move on to the next without pause, each action a continuation of the established routine. There's no room for reflection or deviation. Everything must adhere to protocol. My identity fades into the backdrop of this mechanical existence, where I am nothing more than a part of an intricate machine that functions seamlessly. As I continue my work, there's an underlying sense of sufficiency in the present moment. Nothing feels out of place or unresolved. The routine is stable and self-contained, providing a steady rhythm that keeps me moving forward without questioning. each task completed with precision, contributing to the larger system without any emotional weight or personal attachment. I adjust settings on the next console, my fingers sliding across buttons with practiced ease. The data I input flows into the network smoothly, ensuring everything remains within parameters. There's no anticipation for what comes next, just a continuation of this procedural cycle that feels complete in its own right. The day's tasks blend together seamlessly, each one an integral part of maintaining order and stability. As I move through my final checklist, there's a quiet acceptance of the ongoing routine. Nothing is asking to be questioned or altered. Everything functions as it should, with no need for further contemplation. I finalize another entry on the log, marking the day's progress with a simple sign-off. The screen before me glows steadily, reflecting my work's completion without fanfare or ceremony. There's an unwavering sense of sufficiency in this moment, where everything feels adequate and complete. The strictness and impersonality of the environment are not arbitrary. They serve a clear operational purpose. The protocols I follow exist to ensure safety margins and maintain efficiency across all tasks. Without these rigid structures, there would be too much room for error, leading to potential hazards and inefficiencies that could disrupt the entire system. Each step in my routine is calibrated with precision, allowing me to navigate through tasks seamlessly without unnecessary distractions or deviations. The oppressive nature of this space is a necessary condition to prevent any external variables from interfering with our operations. Every detail from the humidity control systems to the sterile surfaces designed to minimize risks and optimize performance. The rules I adhere to are not dictates of authority but responses to the inherent conditions that govern our work environment. They exist because they must, ensuring that every component functions as intended without compromising overall stability or output. The harshness is an inevitable consequence of maintaining order in a complex system, where even minor deviations can have significant repercussions. In this context, my detachment and methodical approach are not signs of emotional disconnection, but rather indicators of operational necessity. Each action I take is essential to the larger framework that sustains our operations. There's no room for personal sentiment or inefficiency when the stakes are so high. Every moment must be dedicated to ensuring the system's integrity. This works because it has to. The oppressive environment and stringent protocols are not designed to oppress, but to stabilize, control, and optimize. Any deviation from these strictures would introduce vulnerabilities that could jeopardize our entire mission. It's a matter of survival and functionality, where every detail serves its purpose in the greater scheme of things. I continue with my routine, moving through tasks without hesitation or emotional interference. Each action is a vital cog in a larger machine, ensuring that everything runs smoothly and efficiently. There's no room for questioning. There's only the necessity to adhere to what must be done. Today's operational metrics are within acceptable parameters. Resource throughput has been optimized to meet the projected demand for the next quarter. The efficiency ratios indicate minimal waste and a high recovery rate from the extraction processes. The environmental impact analysis shows that our current protocols effectively mitigate potential hazards, maintaining a balance between resource acquisition and ecological stability. The loss margins are negligible, ensuring that we adhere strictly to sustainability guidelines. Each unit of material extracted is accounted for in comprehensive yield reports, which confirm our adherence to industry standards. These data points are crucial for long-term planning and operational continuity. By treating every variable as a necessary component of the system, I ensure that all actions align with established protocols and objectives. The population dynamics within the extraction zones remain stable, with no significant deviations from expected patterns. Any anomalies are addressed promptly through routine maintenance and corrective measures, ensuring that resource flow remains uninterrupted. The efficiency of our operations is directly correlated to the stability of these variables. Discomfort or deviation can be abstracted into metrics, which allows for a more objective assessment of system health. Each detail becomes a data point in an ongoing analysis, contributing to the overall functionality and resilience of the system. By viewing everything through this lens, I maintain operational integrity without unnecessary, emotional interference. The planet's variables are managed with precision, ensuring that our activities remain within acceptable thresholds. The extraction process is not about destruction, but rather about balancing resource availability with environmental sustainability. Every decision is framed in terms of necessity and efficiency, allowing for a rational approach to maintaining the system's stability. Throughput and yield projections indicate continued success in meeting strategic goals. Any potential risks are quantified and mitigated through rigorous adherence to established protocols. This methodical approach ensures that our operations remain efficient and sustainable, minimizing any adverse impacts while maximizing resource utilization. In essence, once counted, nothing feels personal. Each action is a data point contributing to the greater functionality of the system. The air conditioning hums a steady drone, its rhythmic sound blending into the background of my awareness. It's comforting, a constant reminder that the systems are functioning as they should. The temperature in here is regulated to within a fraction of a degree, ensuring optimal conditions for the equipment and, by extension, our operations. The monitors flicker with data streams, each pixel a testament to the intricate network we've built. I scan through the feeds methodically, noting any anomalies but finding none. This repetition is soothing in its predictability. Every deviation would signal potential issues, but today, everything is within parameters. My fingers move across the console, typing commands with practiced precision. Each keystroke sends a ripple of feedback through my body, a gentle vibration that confirms connectivity and response. It's reassuring to know that every action I take here translates into tangible outcomes elsewhere. The facility's ventilation system shifts gears slightly, adjusting airflow as environmental conditions dictate. The change is subtle but noticeably a slight shift in the ambient noise pattern. This is expected. It's part of the adaptive protocols designed to maintain efficiency and prevent overheating. My heart rate monitors through a steady baseline, occasionally spiking minutely with bursts of activity from my muscles as I move between stations. These spikes are normal fluctuations, signals that my body is performing its role in concert with the machinery around me. The humidity levels fluctuate slightly, but the system adjusts seamlessly to maintain optimal conditions. Each adjustment is recorded and analyzed, providing valuable data points for ongoing optimization. The environment itself acts like a living organism, responding to internal and external stimuli to ensure everything operates smoothly. As I continue my rounds, the physical strain of prolonged focus becomes more pronounced. My eyes feel heavy but remain sharp. Every blink clears the temporary blurriness, ensuring clarity in each subsequent glance at the screens before me. This is expected, a natural consequence of sustained engagement with high-stakes operations. The sensory overload begins to intensify as I delve deeper into complex diagnostics and predictive analytics. The hum of machinery becomes louder, yet it's reassuring, a symphony of functionality playing out around me. Each piece plays its part in the grander orchestration, contributing to a harmonious system that thrives on precision. The physical fatigue is minor, an acceptable cost for maintaining operational integrity. It's not discomfort, it's information. The body's signals are data points, each one confirming that the systems we've built are resilient and robust enough to handle increasing demands without faltering. As I complete my rounds and return to my desk, I review the day's logs with a meticulous eye. Each entry is another piece of evidence supporting the efficiency and reliability of our processes. The stress of continuous operation is not an obstacle. It's a confirmation that everything is working as intended. In this space, every detail matters, and each deviation signals a potential for improvement rather than alarm. This is how we maintain stability and progress, the relentless pursuit of precision through diligent observation and proactive adjustment. As I monitor the system's performance metrics, a brief hesitation flickers through my mind. It's an almost imperceptible pause, a fleeting thought questioning if there might be another way to achieve stability and efficiency. Yet, This momentary doubt is quickly corrected by my internal logic. The protocols are designed based on rigorous testing and real-world applications, ensuring the optimal balance between resource management and operational safety. Any deviation from these established norms could introduce unnecessary risk or inefficiency. This thought process feels mature and responsible, aligning with the professional standards I've embraced. My actions continue without interruption, each keystroke a reaffirmation of the system's resilience and reliability. The rhythm remains steady, and my focus sharpens as I move forward with precision and confidence. The protocols are clear and unambiguous. Each step I take follows a precise sequence that ensures optimal performance and safety. There's no room for error or deviation. Every action aligns with established guidelines, reinforcing stability and reliability. The air conditioning hums steadily, a constant reminder of operational efficiency. Monitors flicker with green indicators, signaling systems are functioning as they should. Fatigue is a signal to recalibrate, not an obstacle. I adjust my posture slightly, ensuring comfort without compromising focus. My movements are methodical, each keystroke deliberate and purposeful. The ventilation system responds predictably, maintaining the ideal environment for continued operation. Small details like these confirm that everything is under control. A fleeting thought of questioning arises, but dissipates immediately. The system works. It's my responsibility to uphold its functionality. Any deviation from protocol introduces risk, which I cannot afford. Precision and adherence are not constraints but necessities. Each detail serves a purpose, contributing to the greater whole. This is how we maintain integrity and prevent failure. There's no room for sentimentality here. The system operates on logic and efficiency, and my role is to ensure it continues doing so without interruption. Every adjustment I make, every signal I monitor, reinforces this necessity. There's a sense of satisfaction in knowing that each action contributes to the stability and resilience of our operations. The environment remains constant, a reliable backdrop for continuous improvement. Each cycle confirms functionality, each indicator reaffirms reliability. The system is workable. It functions as intended. My role is clear. Adhere to protocol, monitor performance, and adjust as necessary. There's no need for emotional attachment or moral quandary. Correctness trumps uncertainty. The room remains quiet, the air conditioning steady, the monitors green. Everything aligns perfectly, confirming the system's integrity. This is how we ensure success through adherence to established protocols and unwavering focus on operational necessity. I adjust the ventilation settings, noting a slight delay as the system recalibrates. The sensors indicate a deviation from standard parameters, prompting me to initiate a minor correction. The process is familiar, yet the actions feel less automatic and more deliberate. Each keystroke seems slightly slower, requiring greater attention than usual. The air conditioning hums louder now, its rhythm subtly altered. I verify the humidity levels, finding them marginally higher than optimal. A small increase in temperature could be expected, but the variance is notable enough to warrant a second look. Adjusting the settings, I notice the system's response time has lengthened slightly. The usual immediate feedback is delayed, and this minor delay adds an extra layer of complexity. I review the environmental controls again, cross-checking with previous data points to ensure no anomalies have slipped through unnoticed. The adjustments are incremental, but each change feels more pronounced than before. The system's adaptability remains intact, yet there's a perceptible shift in its responsiveness. A minor recalibration is necessary for stability, but it introduces an additional step that wasn't required previously. The monitors display green indicators, reassuring me of ongoing functionality, but the data points are no longer as clear-cut. There's a slight hesitation in the system's feedback loop, which I address through careful recalibrations. The environment's constant hum remains steady, yet there's a subtle irregularity that demands my focus. Each adjustment requires more precision and patience than before. The physical environment continues to be intense, but now feels slightly less predictable. The air conditioning cycles are not as seamless as they once were, introducing minor disruptions in the otherwise consistent rhythm. Despite this, I remain committed to maintaining operational integrity through meticulous adjustments. The effort required is increasing, yet each step confirms that the system remains resilient and adaptable. I continue my routine tasks with a heightened sense of vigilance, ensuring every detail aligns precisely. Each action feels more deliberate, as if the system requires greater care and attention than it did before. The environment's feedback becomes harder to abstract away, demanding closer scrutiny at each turn. Despite this, I remain resolute in upholding stability through meticulous adherence to protocol. The familiar processes still work, but they now require a deeper level of engagement and effort. Each task is executed with precision, yet the system's responsiveness feels incrementally less fluid. The environment's minor inconsistencies are managed, but they introduce an additional layer of complexity that demands ongoing vigilance. Despite these challenges, I maintain my focus on sustaining operational integrity through diligent adjustments and careful monitoring. I spend another day reviewing the latest reports and projections. The numbers look stable on paper, but as I interact with the environment, discrepancies begin to surface. The soil moisture readings indicate a level that should sustain lush vegetation. Yet when I survey the landscape, patches of dry earth are evident, contradicting what the data suggests. I recalibrate my sensors meticulously, running diagnostics to ensure no malfunction. The equipment checks out perfectly, but the physical world remains stubbornly inconsistent with the expected outcomes. It's as if the map is slowly losing its accuracy relative to the ground it purports to depict. In the lab, I run simulations based on current data sets, trying to bridge the gap between theoretical models and observed reality. The algorithms struggle to account for the variability in living systems, especially at scale. What was once a smooth process of extrapolation now feels like an exercise in approximation, with each iteration bringing less confidence. I consult historical records, looking for patterns that might explain the variance, but even there, anomalies persist. Historical data aligns well with today's readings, yet physical outcomes diverge significantly from both past and present models. It's frustrating because my rational framework insists on finding coherence, but the more I probe, the less clear the picture becomes. In a moment of reflection, I realize that my reliance on abstraction as a tool for understanding is faltering. The simplifications once sufficient to navigate this world now feel inadequate, like using a faded map in an ever-changing terrain. Yet, there's no alternative framework readily available to replace it. I proceed with tasks as if the familiar systems are still intact, but each action feels slightly off-script, requiring more mental effort to reconcile planned steps with actual results. The environment responds less predictably, forcing me to be constantly vigilant and adaptive. It's a subtle shift, not dramatic enough to trigger immediate alarm or revolt, yet significant enough to register as persistent strain on my cognitive resources. Abstraction is no longer a seamless interface between observation and action. It's becoming an imperfect filter through which I must navigate reality more directly. The hum is back, a persistent murmur that weaves through the air. It's not loud enough to drown out conversation or thought, but it's always there, an uninvited guest in every room and hallway I traverse. I try to push it away with my mind, to compartmentalize it like any other task-related distraction, but it clings stubbornly, a faint echo that resonates just below the threshold of awareness. Today, as I go through the motions of data entry, the hum grows more noticeable. It's not an interference exactly, it doesn't disrupt the screens or distort my work, but its presence is harder to ignore. The rhythm seems slightly off, like static noise in a transmission that can't be tuned out completely. My fingers move over the keyboard with practiced precision, but each keystroke feels as if it's met by a slight resistance, an unseen force nudging against my movements. I take a moment to close my eyes and focus on the hum, trying to identify its source, but there is none that I can pinpoint. It's omnipresent, woven into the fabric of this place like a constant whisper in the background. I open my work folder with more deliberation than usual, double-checking protocols and cross-referencing data points meticulously. My mind feels heavy, weighed down by the need to be vigilant against something that doesn't seem tangible. The air around me seems charged, an electrical static that prickles at the edges of perception. It's not just the hum anymore. There's a subtle vibration in the floor beneath my feet, and a faint shimmer in the light overhead. These small anomalies are accumulating, each one adding another layer to the mental burden I carry. The environment asserts itself without intent, and I am forced to grapple with its inconsistencies. I take a deep breath, trying to center myself amidst this growing dissonance. My thoughts begin to unravel as I struggle to reconcile the sensory feedback with my established framework. It's as if every task requires an extra mental effort just to maintain operational integrity. The hum is no longer merely an annoyance, it's a reminder of the disconnect between what we believe and what we experience. I move on to the next task, but each action feels like a step into uncertainty. I can feel my rational defenses beginning to fray at the edges. The neat system that once explained everything now revealing cracks in its foundation. The hum is persistent, an unwelcome constant that demands attention even as it remains just out of reach of comprehension. I push forward, driven by necessity and duty, but there's a growing sense of unease. This place, which was once familiar and predictable, feels increasingly alien. Each moment spent here becomes another encounter with the unresolved presence that seeps into every crevice of my existence. I find myself constantly reminding myself of the protocols and procedures that have always guided me. It's as if each action requires a renewed affirmation of its validity, a repetition that ensures I don't lose sight of what's essential. The hum is persistent, a low murmur that distracts but doesn't deter. Each task now demands an extra layer of thought, a mental rehearsal to ensure everything aligns correctly. I repeat the steps in my mind, verifying each one as I go along. It's like explaining something again and again to myself, just to make it hold together. There's a faint vibration that accompanies this hum, subtle yet noticeable enough to draw attention. My surroundings feel different, almost alien despite their familiarity. The visual distortions are minor but unsettling, forcing me to focus more intently on the task at hand. I know these changes shouldn't affect my performance, and so I remind myself of the protocols repeatedly. The need for precision is heightened. Each move must be deliberate and calculated. It's as if the system itself has become less forgiving, requiring a stricter adherence to what once felt natural and intuitive. Every action seems to demand justification in real time, a mental exercise that drains more energy than it should. Despite this, I persist, reinforcing my resolve with every step. The protocols are still valid. They must be. It's just the context around them that has shifted. Each repetition feels like a reinforcement, a reaffirmation of what I know to be true and necessary. The hum is there, ever present, but it doesn't override my ability to function. Instead, it serves as a reminder to stay vigilant, to keep explaining and justifying each action. It's not that the protocols are failing. Rather, they need to be actively maintained in this new environment. The repetition is a safeguard against the dissonance, a way to hold on to what has always worked. I continue, focused and determined, knowing that the familiar paths still exist within reach, but only if I keep explaining them to myself again and again. The hum persists, a constant undercurrent in the background of my thoughts. Each task requires an extra layer of concentration, as if I'm operating on a lower bandwidth than before. The environment feels subtly altered, like the air itself is shifting, making it harder to stay grounded. I've grown accustomed to the need for precision and patience, but today feels different. There's a nagging sensation that something is off, even though everything appears normal at first glance. Small discrepancies start to accumulate, minor delays in system responses, slight distortions in visual feedback. It's as if the familiar protocols are no longer perfectly aligned with reality. I remind myself of the importance of repetition and adherence to established procedures. Each action needs to be verified multiple times to ensure it aligns with what I expect. This vigilance is exhausting but necessary. The hum grows louder, more intrusive, yet I force myself to ignore it, focusing instead on the task at hand. The visual distortions become harder to overlook. Shapes seem slightly off, edges blurred or sharpened in unexpected ways. It's disconcerting, and my mind struggles to reconcile this with what I know to be true. Yet, there is a strange comfort in the routine. The familiar protocols serve as anchors, even if they no longer provide the same sense of stability. I take a moment to pause, breathing deeply, trying to center myself amidst the hum and distortions. It's like walking on thin ice. Each step requires careful consideration. The mental strain is significant, but I push through it, driven by an unyielding resolve to maintain order in this increasingly unpredictable environment. As I complete another task, a sense of accomplishment mixes with fatigue. There's no room for complacency. Each moment demands constant vigilance. The system holds, but only when watched closely. This is the new reality, and I am its guardian. The persistent hum grows louder, making concentration increasingly difficult. Each keystroke echoes through the silence with an unsettling resonance, amplifying the sense of disconnection. The visual distortions become more pronounced, with flickering lights and wavering shadows that seem to shift unpredictably. I notice small cracks in the walls, subtle at first, but growing larger over time. Routine tasks take longer than usual, as unexpected glitches and system failures require additional troubleshooting steps. Simple commands now yield unpredictable results, forcing me to rerun sequences multiple times until they produce consistent outcomes. The familiar pathways through the data no longer lead directly to their intended destinations. Detours and dead ends are commonplace. The environment outside is visibly changing. Once, lush greenery has given way to barren patches of earth, devoid of life. Trees stand bare and withered, their branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. Rivers that once flowed clear now run murky and sluggish, carrying the signs of erosion and decay. Each day, more areas show signs of degradation, a gradual but relentless transformation. I continue my work with methodical precision, recognizing that each step is critical for maintaining stability in this altered world. The familiar protocols still guide me, though they no longer guarantee success. Repetition offers some semblance of order, even as the underlying reality shifts around me. I focus on the immediate tasks, verifying and re-verifying data to ensure accuracy, despite the increasing. The persistent hum intensifies, a constant undercurrent that disrupts concentration further. The flickering lights now dance erratically, casting shifting shadows that create an eerie sense of unease. Cracks in walls widen, spreading like veins across the surfaces. Each new failure requires more effort to correct, but I persist with unwavering resolve. The visible changes outside mirror the internal struggles within. Life continues to diminish, and the once vibrant landscape now bears witness to a steady decline. The air feels thicker, heavier, as if laden with unseen contaminants. Despite the growing difficulties, I remain vigilant, adhering strictly to protocols in an attempt to navigate this altered reality. Each day brings new challenges, but I continue working through them methodically. Numbers no longer abstractly represent data points. They correspond to concrete outcomes visible and irrefutable. The cost of maintaining order is tangible, evident not just in the metrics but in the physical world around me. The lights flicker intermittently as I sit before the console, fingers tapping out commands with a practiced rhythm. The screen blurs briefly, then stabilizes into a grid of flashing alerts and error messages. I ignore them, focusing instead on the task at hand, a routine diagnostic that should take mere minutes, but now stretches into an hour. Each keystroke feels heavier than the last, weighted by the mounting signs of decay all around me. The floor beneath my feet trembles slightly, a low rumble echoing through the structure like a distant heartbeat. I glance up from the console to check on the walls. Cracks have widened since this morning, now snaking their way across the ceiling and down into the corners where shadows gather. Despite the constant reminders of instability, I push forward with my work, adhering closely to the protocols that once felt reassuringly solid. The air is thick with a sense of foreboding, heavy as if laden with unseen particles. It's difficult to breathe deeply, but I manage to take shallow breaths, concentrating on the rhythm of my heart and the steady hum of machinery around me. The environment feels alien, its familiar patterns disrupted by relentless changes that defy easy explanation or control. Yet, there is a stubbornness in my resolve. Each task completed adds a layer of stability to an otherwise crumbling system. I check sensors, recalibrate circuits, run diagnostics actions that once felt like maintenance now feel more like holding back the tide with bare hands. Despite knowing the futility of it all, the effort remains unwavering. The landscape outside my window is barren and lifeless, a reflection of the internal void within me. The sky hangs heavy with gray clouds that never seem to break, casting everything in an eternal twilight. I can't help but notice the desolation. But there's no room for contemplation or despair. There's only work. The console beeps insistently, another error message flashing red across the screen. I address it methodically, running through a checklist of potential solutions, applying patches and updates that have become increasingly ineffective over time. The system groans in protest, but I persist, driven by an unyielding commitment to maintaining order amidst chaos. As night falls, the flickering lights grow dimmer, casting long shadows that stretch across the room like skeletal fingers, reaching out for something they can never grasp. I continue my work under the fading light, eyes straining to see the screens and readouts clearly. The cracks in the walls seem more pronounced now, their jagged edges sharp against the gloom. The air grows colder as the night progresses, a chill that seeps through even the thickest layers of clothing. I shiver involuntarily, but force myself to stay focused on the tasks ahead. Each moment is a battle against entropy, and though it feels futile, there's no option for surrender. I continue because stopping is not an option. The routine offers some semblance of order, but its fragility becomes ever more apparent with each passing hour. The system continues to falter, and the cracks in the walls deepen, spreading like a disease through the structure. Yet, I press on, driven by the weight of responsibility and the stark reality that there is no alternative. The night deepens into a relentless cycle of tasks and failures, but my hands move with practiced precision, each action measured and deliberate. The environment may be crumbling around me, but within this confined space, there's still some semblance of control. I keep going because stopping means embracing the void that threatens to consume everything in its path. The dawn creeps in reluctantly through the cracks, casting a pale light across the room. Another day begins, and with it comes another set of tasks to complete. The cycle continues unbroken, each moment a testament to resilience in the face of relentless decay. The flickering lights cast erratic shadows across the room, each pulse of light and darkness, a stark reminder of the system's frailty. I methodically check the diagnostic readouts, my fingers moving with practiced precision over cold metal surfaces. The air is heavy, thick with the scent of ozone, a familiar warning that something critical has failed again. The walls are beginning to show signs of stress. Small cracks have spread like spider webs, branching out from unseen points of weakness. Each crack widens slowly, a relentless progression that seems to mock my efforts at repair and stability. I apply sealant with meticulous care, but the substance barely covers the damage before it begins to peel away. Outside, the landscape remains barren and desolate, its starkness mirroring the internal void within me. The once vibrant ecosystem is now a lifeless expanse, devoid of color or movement. It's not just an environmental degradation, it's a reflection of my own inability to prevent further decay. I continue my routines, knowing that each step might only offer fleeting relief before another failure emerges. There's no grand plan to reverse the tide, no heroic effort to rally against the inevitable. My actions are small and repetitive, screws tightened, circuits checked, data logged, but they serve as a fragile tether to reality. The weight of responsibility still presses down, but it feels more diffuse now, less personal. It's not about me anymore. It's about maintaining what remains until something else takes over or fails completely. There's no judgment in this acknowledgement, only the stark recognition that my efforts are insufficient to alter the trajectory. I log another failure and note it in the system records. The data is cold and clinical, devoid of emotion yet laden with consequence. It's a record of events, not outcomes. Each entry is another dot on an ever-lengthening line graph that charts decline. As I work, there's no room for despair or rebellion, only acceptance and action. The world around me continues to degrade, but my routine persists. My hands move as if guided by some mechanical necessity, each task a nod to the relentless march of time and entropy. The cracks in the walls grow wider, and the flickering lights dim further, yet I remain resolute. Each keystroke is a testament to continuity amidst chaos, an acknowledgement that even as systems fail, there's still a semblance of order to uphold. I continue my routine with a sense of mechanical precision, each action reinforcing the next. The system around me hums with a relentless rhythm, guiding my motions without pause or deviation. There's an inherent logic to this continuation, an unspoken directive that tasks be completed regardless of their diminishing returns. Every flickering light and widening crack serves as a reminder of the inevitability of failure, yet these signs also become triggers for more maintenance cycles. The environment demands attention, each malfunction drawing me deeper into a cycle of repair and repetition. Despite the clear evidence of decay, my adherence to protocol remains steadfast. The system's favor lies in the act of doing, not in the outcome. There are no alternatives in this world, only paths that diverge theoretically but converge practically. Each deviation from routine introduces complexity rather than stability. My actions, while futile against the backdrop of systemic breakdown, serve as a buffer against immediate collapse. In this way, continuation is favored over correction. Each repair temporarily staves off failure without addressing its root causes. The weight of my responsibilities is ever present, but I find solace in the routine. It's not hope that drives me, but a stubborn refusal to let go of what remains functional. My tasks are repetitive and finite, yet they maintain an order that would otherwise dissolve into chaos. The system progresses through momentum, each action propelling it forward, regardless of its consequences. The environment around me deteriorates steadily, yet my resolve remains unshaken. Each keystroke, each repair, is a nod to the ongoing nature of the process. The air thickens with a sense of inevitability, but there's comfort in the mechanical precision of my actions. In this relentless cycle, continuation is not an act of defiance or acceptance, it simply is. The system moves forward without pause, and I move with it, driven by the inertia of routine. Each task completed adds to the pile of unfinished ones that await tomorrow. The world around me crumbles, but within its ruins, my actions persist, a fragile, yet unyielding thread holding together the fabric of collapse. The flickering lights cast erratic shadows across the room, but I remain steady in my seat. My fingers move methodically over the keyboard, a rhythm that has become second nature despite the growing disarray around me. The air carries a faint tang of metal and dust, a constant reminder of the inevitable progression of decay. Yet, each keystroke feels like a small victory against entropy. Cracks spread across the walls like veins, their presence gradually becoming more familiar than unsettling. I no longer flinch at their appearance. Instead, they are simply another aspect of my daily environment to note and document. The machinery hums with an increasingly erratic cadence, but my focus remains unwavering. Every beep and whir is a companion in the symphony of decline. Desolation surrounds me, yet I am rooted firmly in my routine. The barren landscape outside reflects the internal void within me. See no life, only the remnants of what once was. My actions are mechanical, driven by necessity rather than hope. Each task performed feels like an anchor against the tide of deterioration. Yet, these anchors grow fewer and weaker with each passing day. The weight of responsibility has shifted from a personal burden to a ritualistic duty. I persist not because I believe it will make a difference, but because ceasing would be tantamount to surrender. There is no room for despair or rebellion, only the acceptance that my efforts are futile yet necessary. The environment's decay presses upon me relentlessly, but my resolve remains unshaken. The air thickens with an oppressive sense of inevitability, yet I continue as if caught in a loop. Each keystroke, each click of the mouse is a nod to the relentless march of time and deterioration. The system has become accustomed to its own decline, and so have I. My routine offers a fragile semblance of order amidst chaos, but it no longer holds any promise of stability or redemption. This is how things are now. The air is thick with the weight of inevitability as I move through my routine. Each day, I follow the same sequence monitoring systems, repairing minor failures, documenting observations. The environment outside reflects the internal void, a barren landscape, dotted with remnants of structures long since abandoned or decayed beyond repair. My actions are mechanical, driven by necessity rather than hope. Flickering lights and widening cracks serve as constant reminders of the relentless progression of decay. Yet, each task I complete offers a small sense of order amidst chaos. Keystrokes become heavier, but they carry the weight of duty more than optimism. The routine is my anchor in this crumbling world. Familiarity with disarray has reduced initial unease to acceptance. There is no room for despair or rebellion. Only persistent duty prevails against the backdrop of relentless deterioration. The environment presses heavily upon me, yet my resolve remains unshaken. I move through each day without questioning its purpose. Tasks are performed out of habit and necessity rather than any belief in their efficacy. Each keystroke is a nod to continuity amidst collapse. Desolation surrounds me, but my routine persists as the only semblance of control. The air carries the scent of decay, yet I continue with mechanical precision. The world outside mirrors the internal void, empty, desolate, and devoid of life. My actions are a fragile tether to reality in an otherwise crumbling existence. Comfort lies in the predictability and order brought by daily tasks amidst the inevitability of collapse. Resignation and determination coexist within me. There's no room for hope or despair, only continued adherence to protocol. The weight of responsibility has shifted from personal burden to maintaining what remains until it fails completely. My routine persists not out of optimism, but duty, acknowledging the stark reality while continuing to uphold a semblance of order in chaos. The air is thick with the scent of ozone and decay. I wake to the hum of distant machinery, my body responding to the familiar rhythm without thought. The routine begins again. Check the monitors, ensure they remain steady, unremarkable. I move through the corridors, their walls a dull gray that reflects nothing but emptiness. Each door is a barrier between what was and what remains. I unlock them with practiced ease, my fingers knowing the sequence of clicks and turns without needing to see. Inside the chambers, rows of glowing screens display patterns of data numbers cycling endlessly in loops of insignificance. There's no grandeur here, only function that must be sustained. I adjust settings, fine-tune parameters, and ensure the systems continue their purposeless dance. The next room holds a cluster of life support units. Their whirring is a constant companion, each one maintaining a fragile balance against entropy. The tubes and wires snaking through the space are like veins in a body long gone cold, life sustained by machines rather than heartbeats. I clean the surfaces meticulously, wiping away dust that settles despite my efforts. Each swipe of the cloth leaves behind only temporary clarity, as if trying to reverse time with a rag. The task is futile but necessary. In another corner, shelves hold archives, data logs, maintenance records, and countless backups. They are relics now, their contents no longer relevant yet still stored out of habit. I organize them methodically, placing each folder where it belongs, fitting into gaps left by the past. Outside, a thin layer of grime coats the ground, a sign of neglect that has become the new norm. The world beyond is silent, its once vibrant hues dulled to shades of gray and brown. Nature advances in slow waves, reclaiming what was abandoned but not forgotten. Returning to my quarters, I find a small space for solitude amid the vast expanse of emptiness. Here, there's no need to perform or explain. Just exist within the boundaries set by routine. The bed is cold against my skin, its comfort fleeting and impersonal. Night falls without fanfare. Darkness presses in, but it does not consume. Instead, it becomes a backdrop against which tasks continue their unbroken cycle. Lights flicker on automatically, casting shadows that dance with familiar predictability. I drift into sleep as the room systems hum quietly around me, each machine whispering its own silent lullaby. Tomorrow will bring more of the same tasks without reason, existence without purpose. And yet, movement persists because it must. I wake up, my body moving through motions I no longer question. The room around me is familiar, the air thick with dust, and a faint scent of decay. There's nothing new here. Just the same routine, day after day. First task, check the air filters. They need replacing regularly to maintain the oxygen levels. I reach for the replacement cartridges, feeling their weight in my hands. The process is mechanical: unscrew the old ones, screw in the new, wow. No thought beyond the immediate. Next, water purification system. I run my fingers over the controls, ensuring all valves are properly aligned. There's no need to think about why or what might happen if something goes wrong. It just needs to be done. Breakfast is a simple meal, bland and unremarkable. My stomach responds mechanically, not with hunger or satisfaction. The utensils clink softly against the ceramic plate as I eat. The day outside isn't different from yesterday's or tomorrow's gray skies, blending into an endless expanse of desolation. But there are tasks to complete. I move to the garden area, checking each plant for signs of distress. They're a fragile lifeline now, dependent on constant care. The soil is dry and cracked beneath my fingers. I water them with precision, knowing what each droplet means. Later, maintenance checks around the living space. Walls need sealing against the chill, seeping through cracks. Each patch applied meticulously, methodically. Evening comes, bringing a sense of relief that another day's routine is complete. Dinner follows breakfasts, pattern functional and devoid of emotion. I sit in my usual spot looking out at nothingness. Before bed, final checks. The systems are stable for now. The world outside remains indifferent. There's no need to think beyond this moment. Now, sleep comes easily, unburdened by dreams or thoughts of change. Tomorrow will be another day of tasks, a continuation of what must be done. I wake up and begin my day as usual. The routine feels familiar, each step a well-trodden path in an unfamiliar landscape. I start with the morning checklist: sanitizing surfaces, checking inventory levels, ensuring all systems are operational. There's no sense of urgency or importance. It's just what needs to be done. The environment is stark and quiet. Echoes of past vibrancy, now only faint traces in the corners of my mind. The air feels colder than usual, but I don't let it affect me. My movements are precise. Each action, a continuation of the previous one without pause or deviation. There's no reflection on why these tasks matter anymore. They simply do. I proceed to the kitchen and prepare breakfast. A routine that once brought comfort now offers only a momentary distraction from the void. The food tastes bland, but it serves its purpose. I eat mechanically, mind wandering to nothing in particular. Cleanup follows immediately after, another layer of order imposed on chaos. Throughout the day, interactions with others are brief and functional. Faces blur into placeholders. each one serving as a reminder that connection has shifted from emotional bonds to transactional exchanges. We communicate efficiently, sharing necessary information without the weight of deeper understanding or empathy. It's easier this way. In the afternoon, I attend my scheduled meeting. The discussion is sterile, focused on efficiency and compliance. Decisions are made with logical precision rather than personal conviction. There's a sense that we're maintaining systems out of habit more than belief in their value. Yet, there's also an unspoken acknowledgement that continuation itself has become its own justification. As the day winds down, I settle into my evening routine, reading through reports, updating logs, reviewing schedules for tomorrow. The work is methodical, each task a small victory against the encroaching silence. There's comfort in knowing what comes next, even if it holds no promise of change or growth. Dinner is solitary, consumed slowly without distraction. I clean up once more, ensuring everything is in place for the following day. Sleep beckons, offering respite from the monotony, but also a temporary detachment from reality. Dreams are rare now, replaced by a deep, untroubled slumber. The night passes quietly, and when morning arrives, it feels like another iteration of what came before. The cycle continues, each loop reinforcing itself without resistance or rebellion. There's an acceptance that things work just differently now. I wake up to another day of routine. Mwah. The familiar surroundings offer no comfort or disturbance. They simply are. I rise, perform my morning ritual, shower, dress, eat the same meal prepared from the limited supplies available. Each action is executed with precision, but without emotion. The day unfolds as it always does. Check the systems, monitor the data streams, conduct maintenance on the machinery that sustains this existence. The tasks are repetitive and predictable, yet necessary. There's a sense of resignation when I encounter another malfunctioning component, knowing full well that replacing or repairing it will only delay the inevitable decay. I move through the facility, my movements mechanical, devoid of any emotional charge. Interactions with others are brief and functional, reduced to nods and terse exchanges. The environment is desolate, yet familiar. The silence is deafening but tolerable. As I complete another cycle of tasks, there is a momentary pause before beginning the next set. There's no anticipation for what comes next, just acceptance of the ongoing routine. I feel the weight of the day pressing down on me, but it doesn't matter. It never does. The end of one task leads into the start of another. Each action is performed out of habit rather than purpose. The monotony is oppressive yet comforting in its predictability. Sleep beckons, offering a temporary escape from this reality. I prepare for bed, undress, and lie down on the cold surface that passes as a mattress. As my eyes close, the day's tasks fade into memory. There's no reflection, no hope for change, just acceptance of another cycle completed. The routine continues in my mind, an endless loop of actions without meaning or purpose.